right, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Survive and protect. How's everybody doing on this Tuesday? How's everybody doing? And so today I want to talk about some people know about the O.O.D.A loop, and some of you don't know what the O.O.D.A loop is. And the O.O.D.A loop is, I guess you could say, a mindset, a method, a practice, a tool that people can use that will um, help protect themselves, right? And so O.O.D.A loop, the O is spelled O-O-D-A, and the letters stand for observe, orient, decide, act. That's what O.O.D.A and the O.O.D.A loop means. Observe, orient, decide, act, right? And so what I'm going to tell you guys, I'm not going to go too deep about what the O.O.D.A loop is, other than telling you that it's a method that some people look at as far as protecting themselves and how they respond to particular threats or potential threats. So you guys look O.O.D.A loop up, O-O-D-A, and again that stands for observe, orient, decide, and act. But what I'm going to get into today is an alternative to the O.O.D.A loop. All right, and it should be, I think, it's a better alternative, and probably will respond better or faster or quicker towards any type of threats. All right. So that being said, survive and protect. Let's get into it. All right. Take the glasses off, man. Things are kind of. All right. So let's get into the guys. I'm having a hard time. This is where I am. Just let me go here. So let's talk about that, man. The O.O.D.A loop. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Leave it like this. I'll know what way to go. So let's talk about it. O-O. Observe, orient, decide. So, real quick, a quicker way or a better way, I say that method is to take two letters from O.O.D.A and focus on that. All right? Take two letters. Now, the two letters from the O.O.D.A are observe and act. Right? Observe, like I told you, observe, orient, decide, and act. You want to take those out. Oh, static. All right. All right, so far. So what I'm sounding like now? What's the audio sounding like? Is it any better? Because maybe I just need to leave this microphone alone. So how does the audio sound? Let me know if it sounds any better. Let me know if it sounds any better. All right. I don't know if it sounded any better, but I did take off the okay, let me see what you're saying here. Oh, much better? Okay, cool. So yeah. Yeah, it must be the microphone then. I'm gonna have to look at that real quick. Matter of fact, let me take this off because there's an issue with the microphone. So yeah, I might as well use the phone's audio. I mean microphone then, so it sounds better. Good. All right, so let me go back real quick and state what I was stating earlier, which I was talking about the OODA loop. All right. This particular episode, I'm going to talk about forgetting the OODA loop. And the OODA loop, the O.O.D.A stands for observe, orient, decide, and act. All right. Observe, orient, decide, and act. That's what the letters stand for, the O.O.D.A. That's what they stand for. So what I was saying is that there's a better alternative to the OODA loop. Some people use that as a method of using to protect yourself. And the way it works is, and I'll give you a little breakdown of it real quick. The way it works is people, when you're out and about, whether you're at a protest, whether you're just going to the store, whether you're going to a concert, going to the mall, people say you got to be aware of your surroundings, right? So what one certain practices is using the OODA loop, which is you observe what's going on, right? And if you see something that looks like it's a little bit out of the norm, you kind of orient yourself to what you're seeing, and then you're making that's the second O in OODA. You're observing, and then you're orienting yourself. That's the second O. First O is observe, second O is orient, and then based on what you're getting yourself oriented to from your observance, you're deciding on what you're going to do, and then finally you're going to act on whatever it is you was observing and orienting to. All right. So, like I said, I think a more efficient way will be to take the letters O for observe and the letter A for act out of the OODA loop and just use those two letters and focus on that instead. All right. Focus on observing and acting. All right. So how would you use that? There's two ways you can do that. All right. There's two ways you can do observe and act. That way you don't have to do 4 steps. You just break it down to 2. So observing and acting. All right. When it comes to the OODA loop, we want to use those 2 letters, observe and act. And I said there's 2 ways you can go about doing that, right? So one way is to plan for any potential problems ahead of time, which means you can go at home, think scenarios through, run them through your head. You can act them out physically and figure out how you would respond to certain potential problems, potential crises, potential threats, right? So you just want to use your imagination a lot more. Hey, what would I do in this situation? What would I do in that situation, right? And then you would plan out your actions to that. So whenever you're out and about and you observe something like that or something similar to the scenarios you came up with, you will immediately act on that instead of having to go through more phases of, well, let me see if all right, I see this now. What should I do here? What should I do there? You want to cut out the middleman, so to speak. All right. That's what you want to do. So you want to create one, like I said, one way is to be at home or somewhere where you're in a calm setting and you go through scenarios. Just you can make them as crazy as you want them to be. All right. But with some realism to it. Think through different potential threatening scenarios, potential crisis, situations and run through what you would do in those particular situations. How would you handle those things? And that will be the observe and acting. All right. So when you go out and about, instead of using the four letters in the OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, and act, you're using observe, and whatever it is you observe, then you act on whatever you observe. And if it's something of a threatening manner, some type of crisis situation, you already went through those scenarios, right? And so you automatically know what you need to do because you already went through it mentally. And then sometimes you can act the situations out and practice them. So when the real thing happens, or should the real thing happen, you're not out there freezing. All right. And like I said, this can be wherever you're going. You just going to Walmart, you're just going to the gas station. Come up with scenarios. You know, if I go to the gas station, for example, if you go to the gas station and you're going to pump some gas in your car, right? And so let's say that as you're pulling up, all of a sudden you see an argument, some people arguing near the gas pumps. Now you're observing that. Instead of using O.O.D.A, observe, orient, decide, and act, if you already went at home and said, come up with some scenarios and say, okay, let's say that this situation was to occur. I'll pull in the gas station and there's an argument, real loud, a couple of people involved, and maybe it grows to be bigger. Then how would you respond to that? So when the real thing happens, you already know how you're going to respond to it. There's no guesswork to it. So you're observing and then you're acting. That's it. Observing and acting. All right. And so that's what it's about. That's one way, is to be at home or a quiet um, atmosphere and just run through scenarios in your head. You can sit down and just think through some things. Stuff like I said, you go to the gas station, you go to Walmart, you go to the mall at times. Maybe sometimes you go to an event and just in your head come up with some scenarios. What if this happened at a concert? You know, if there was a shootout at a concert, how would I respond? What would I do? So if, God forbid you go to one and something like that happens, you don't freeze up and, in place and don't know what to do. You already ran these scenarios through your head. All right. So that's one way. Another way is to do it in real time. All right. A lot of people now that's going to be, I don't say it's in advance, but I just say that for some people they might find it hard to be doing something in real time and then having to think through scenarios or situations and how they will handle. All right. So a couple of ideas on that. Like I said, the second one way is to be at home or sitting in your car. You could be sitting in the driveway and just come up with some scenarios, right? The second way is to do it in real time. So, for instance, let's say I'm in Walmart, right? I didn't think through any scenarios at home. I didn't come up with anything sitting in my car in the driveway or anything like that. So, in real time, I'm going through as I'm shopping and getting things. I'm saying, okay, what would I do in a situation such as I'm pushing a cart in one aisle, next thing you know, in the next aisle over, I hear gunshots. How would I handle that situation? All right. So I'm doing this in real time. I'm walking through Walmart. I'm thinking through scenarios as I'm shopping. Or I'm going to the gas station. I say, well, what if somebody's robbing the store while I'm at the pumps? And they come out running, and maybe the cashier, somebody pulls out their gun and chases them and shoots at him, and there's a shootout. What would I do? So I'm in the moment, in the real time, and coming up with situations in real time as to what I would do. So that's another way to cut off and shorten the OODA loop to observe and acting. So on the spot, I'm coming up with these scenarios, and if I observe the same thing, then I'm going to act on it right there in real time. All right. So that's another way to go about using observe and act instead of observe, orient, decide, and act. All right. So when you get these scenarios in real time, when you do that, then it'll be a quicker process for you to respond to potential threats. All right. So that's it, man. It's not, short and sweet. And let me know what you think about it. Try it out. This is something I do, so it's nothing that I'm telling you to do. And maybe some things maybe I don't use, but I might feel like it's something worthwhile putting in your practice when it comes to your personal safety, your personal security. All right. So again, instead of using observe, orient, decide, and act, what you want to do is just use observe and act. All right. Observe and act. And the way you would do that is you just come up with different scenarios. Whether you at home, you can go through those practices of coming up with scenarios and just use real situations. Like I said, real things you actually do. You go to work, you go to Walmart, you go to the mall, you might go to the gas station, so on and so forth. All right. And the second way is to actually do it in real time, right on the spot while you're there. All right. So again, I'm pulling up in the gas station. I'm running through in my head now, like, man, what if somebody came up? What if two cars pulled up in the gas station and all of a sudden there's a shootout between the drivers in both cars? How would I respond to that potential threat? Right. So this is how you would handle observe and act. All right. So try it on, try it yourself, add that as part of your tools, your resources, your repertoire of personal protection. All right. And with that being said, man, hope this is something that you would try out and it helps you out and you put into practice. All right. So with that being said, survive and protect. I'm out. Peace.